Epstein, Moskowitz, Kash Patel. Three names that were never supposed to collide in public the way they just did. Yet when they finally did, the entire narrative around one of the most infamous scandals of our time cracked wide open. Because in a single exchange, the stories people were fed for years suddenly didn't line up. The promises, the binders, the whispered claims of hidden names. And then zero. Zero credible names. Zero new targets. Zero truth behind the hype that dominated the internet for half a decade. That contradiction alone was explosive. But what Representative Jared Moskowitz did next?
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I begin, I want to caution my colleagues on, one-sided violence in this country. We just heard that there were no riots on the right. We're literally sitting in the building where there was a giant riot by supporters of the president, the right. We also heard that only leftists, have said that Trump is a Nazi. In 2016, the current vice president of the United States said, Trump is either a cynical asshole or he's America's Hitler. And so this is the problem. I don't want to have to say this garbage, but you want me to sit here and get painted with one brush, the whole left. No, there are extremes on the left, and there are extremes on the right. And we collectively should tackle that. But to come here and just look at us and say we all support what's going on in the extremes is why we can't solve anything in this building. Director, let me say first, thank you for being here, and my condolences on the loss of your friend. And I'm happy to hear that you want to do more on the social media platforms, It's crazy what's going on the social media platforms. There are so many conspiracy theories on what's going on with Charlie Kirk. Israel assassinated him, right? There are conspiracy theories about your personal social life all day. It is totally rampant. Big names on the right, Candace Owens, right? Talking about how what's been released as far as the dialogue between the perpetrator and his roommate is manufactured by the FBI, manufactured by the administration. It is totally rampant, allowing foreign governments to just perpetrate these platforms, all of these bots, all of the time to weaponize Americans. You see what's going on here? This is a byproduct of all of that. What's going on in the streets is a byproduct of all of that. What's happening is you see people celebrate Luigi Mangione is a byproduct of all of that. And so if we want to do something, then we should talk about Section 230. We should talk about how we're going to make sure that we don't let foreign governments poison our children's mind. And so I will work with you on that, Director.
I'll work with you on 230 any day.
No problem. So now, that was the good part. I want to take your attention back a second, Breaking news. Kash Patel is nominated to be the FBI director. Dan Bongino is nominated to be the number 2 at the FBI. MAGA celebrates, rejoices, bells are ringing out. The team, Patel, Bongino, that sought out every podcast microphone to talk about the Epstein list. The names are finally going to get released. It begins. They produce white binders. Phase 1 with the podcasters. This is not actually one of them, of course. I made this. Your name's on it, right? And the names are going to come out. Pam Bondi says the list is on her desk. Then a memo comes out all of a sudden and says, there's no list. Oh, no phase 2. Phase 2 binders never happen. You said the conspiracy theories around Epstein just aren't true. They never have been. And yesterday, in an answer to Senator Kennedy, you said the FBI is not in possession of any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. So according to your testimony yesterday and in this committee, according to the evidence the FBI has, the number of names on the list are zero.
No,
zero.
The index has been released, and the number of people involved in that trafficking operation were charged in 2018.
Other than Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, your testimony in the Senate and here is that according to the evidence you have, the number of other names is zero.
that were charged based on credible evidence.
Well, who are the other names? Give me the other names that weren't charged.
We are not releasing the names of anyone because the Department of Justice never does that, of anyone that didn't have any credible information to attack them.
Let me move forward. The president has, you've seen the picture of the woman's body with the writing and the president's signature. The president says that's not his. Okay? President says it's not his. The Republican colleagues say it's not his. The administration say it's not his. Will you be opening up an investigation into the Epstein estate for putting out a fake document with the president's signature linking him to the world's largest pedophile ring? Will you be opening that investigation into that?
On what basis?
On what basis? They literally put out a fake document, according to the president, with a fake signature. It's a forgery of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, I look forward to that investigation. Am I over? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your diligence.
Gentleman's time has expired. Chair.
That was the moment that made everyone in the room lean forward, because he wasn't just calling out inconsistencies. He was exposing the uncomfortable reality behind them. And if you missed the first 30 seconds of this exchange, you missed the spark that set the whole thing on fire. The conversation didn't start slow. It didn't ease in. It dropped straight into the center of the storm. Moskowitz pressed Patel on the zero names statement, something that shocked almost everyone watching. After years of speculation about who might have been involved with Epstein, Patel's claim was absolute. Only Epstein and Maxwell. No other credible connections. The final number is 0. Moskowitz didn't let that slide, because the moment Patel said it, the years of rumors and promises started collapsing under their own weight. Think about it. If there was never any evidence of anyone else, then why were certain political figures pushing the idea of massive lists, hidden files, and Phase 2 binders? Why was there so much talk about exposing everyone, holding people accountable, tearing open a new era of justice? That's the trap. Once you build a story on mystery, people expect answers. And when the answers never come, someone has to explain the gap. Moskowitz stepped right into that gap and forced Patel to confront it. But that was just the surface. The real shift came when Moskowitz pivoted to something more volatile: the alleged birthday card with the president's signature. Whether real or forged, whether staged or misinterpreted, it was instantly polarizing. The moment the picture went public, theories exploded. But here's where things took a turn. The president said the signature was fake. The administration said it was fake. Patel said it was fake. So Moskowitz asked the obvious question. If it's a forgery tied to one of the most notorious scandals in modern history, why isn't anyone launching an investigation into who created it? Why not find out who forged the name of the most powerful person in the world and linked him to a global trafficking network? It's a fair question. And when Moskowitz pressed it, Patel hesitated. Almost everything about this story has been magnified, debated, and weaponized. But this one piece, the one item that should have triggered a massive response, was ignored. And Moskowitz wasn't having it. His question landed like a punch. If the document is fake, then where is the accountability? That's when the room shifted. Because suddenly, it wasn't about Epstein. It wasn't about lists or binders or internet conspiracies. It was about something deeper: consistency. Moskowitz called out the double standard openly. He said it clearly. If this document had involved anyone else, especially a political rival, investigations would have launched instantly. Hearings would have been scheduled within hours. Commentators would have filled the airwaves. The outrage machine would have been in full force. But when the name belonged to someone on the right side politically, the energy changed. The urgency vanished. That's what Moskowitz wanted people to see. Not the controversy itself, but how it was handled. And while he made that point, he also tried to widen the lens. Because even though the hearing was about one specific issue, Moskowitz understood something bigger. The entire political environment is drowning in conspiracy theories. He mentioned Charlie Kirk, the wild allegations about assassination plots, the claims that the FBI fabricated evidence. He pointed to the viral rumors that spread faster than facts. And he wasn't wrong. This ecosystem has become a factory for misinformation. Every single day, new theories emerge, some tied to influencers, some tied to foreign bots, some tied to people who just want clicks. The system rewards the loudest claims, not the truest. And when politicians play into that environment, intentionally or not, they feed a machine that eventually turns on everyone. Moskowitz wasn't trying to defend one political side. He was trying to show the cost of living in a world where lies spread faster than institutions can respond. He highlighted how foreign governments, especially adversaries, use social media to poison conversations, manipulate narratives, and fuel distrust. He called out how easy it is for bots to push stories into the mainstream and how quickly those stories become facts in certain circles. The result? People stop believing anything at all. Trust collapses. Anger grows. And every time officials dodge questions or hide information, the vacuum creates even more conspiracy theories. That's how instability grows. That's how division spreads. And Moskowitz saw it happening in real time. He also brought up something most politicians avoid: the extremes on both sides. Because when the right claims the left is entirely made up of radicals, or the left claims the right is entirely made up of extremists, the middle collapses. Nuance disappears. And when nuance disappears, so does the ability to solve real problems. He reminded everyone that political violence isn't one-sided. The extremism that exists on the right has parallels on the left. When lawmakers pretend otherwise just to score points, accountability dies. Solutions die. The entire system rots. These moments of selective memory are exactly why hearings like this become battles instead of discussions. The part many people missed, the part most commentators skipped, was where Moskowitz challenged Patel's claim that the FBI's evidence doesn't support the existence of any other involved individuals. Because when Patel said there were 0 additional names, he wasn't just correcting the record. He was erasing years of political storytelling from people who once claimed to care deeply about the truth. The influencers who built careers on promising, shocking revelations. The politicians who swore they'd expose the full truth. The podcasters who swore they had inside knowledge. The audiences who were told that justice was coming and that the powerful would fall. Now suddenly, nothing. 0. A complete reversal. This is where Moskowitz leaned in. He didn't just ask why the list didn't exist. He asked why people insisted for years that it did. Why did Patel and others hype it? Why did they build an entire media ecosystem around the idea of a massive reveal? If there was no evidence, someone had to explain the showmanship. Someone had to explain the binders, the phases, the performances on social media. You can't tell the public for years that you're ready to expose a massive truth, only to say later there was nothing to expose. That's not transparency, it's manipulation. And it has consequences. The biggest one is this: when officials contradict themselves, the public loses trust. And when institutions lose trust, conspiracies explode. The gap between what people expect and what they receive becomes fertile ground for paranoia. It's the same reason people believe in shadow governments, secret files, and hidden agendas. Not because they're searching for mystery, but because they're searching for answers institutions refuse to give clearly. When officials dodge questions, the public fills in the blanks with whatever feels the most dramatic. And then there's the matter of the victims themselves. Behind all the politics, behind all the rumors, behind all the accusations, there were real people hurt. Survivors whose stories deserve clarity and justice, not political games. Moskowitz understood that. His anger wasn't performative. It came from the fact that those survivors have watched the world argue about their trauma like it's content, turned into entertainment instead of action. When leaders talk about Epstein for political gain, it turns real suffering into a talking point. And that's the biggest tragedy of all. As the hearing wrapped up, Moskowitz delivered something rare: blunt honesty. He didn't pretend he had all the answers. He didn't present speculation as truth. He didn't fall into the usual partisan traps. Instead, he asked the simplest question: will you investigate the forged document? Yes or no? And when Patel finally said sure, it felt like an afterthought, like agreeing only because declining would look worse. That's not how accountability should work. Investigations shouldn't depend on political pressure, media attention, or who benefits from the outcome. They should happen because the truth matters. But if this hearing proved anything, it's that the truth is now filtered through lenses of loyalty, outrage, and convenience. The public doesn't know who to trust. Some leaders don't know how to be consistent. And conspiracy culture keeps filling the gaps. That's why this moment, this exchange, felt like a breaking point. Because it wasn't just about Epstein. It wasn't just about Moskowitz. It wasn't just about Patel. It was about the future of accountability in a country where truth itself has become political currency. And if we don't demand better, if we don't question contradictions, call out hypocrisy, and insist on equal standards, then scandals like Epstein's will keep festering in the shadows. The powerful will keep escaping scrutiny. The victims will keep being forgotten. And the public will keep living in a world where lies spread faster than justice. If you made it this far, you already know how important this conversation is. Stay informed. Stay aware. And if you want more breakdowns like this, deep dives that cut through the noise, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Your voice matters. Your attention matters. And together, we can demand a system that finally tells the truth, no matter who it implicates.